Hello, my name is Suzanne Longstreet. I'm a mindset and success coach, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Pinkpreneurs. Today's Pinkpreneur Spotlight is on Charisse Sisou. And Charisse and I met recently, about a year ago, and I've gotten to know her and find out the multiple levels and depths of Charisse. And I'm delighted to share with you and dig into more of that so that she'll share with you the expansiveness of everything that she offers in the world. So Charisse, welcome and tell us who you are and your business, a little bit about your business.
Sure. Sure. So who I am, probably an easy way to put it is a visibility maven. Um, we'll just leave it at that for now. And I founder of the Shameless movement and also CEO of the Claim Your Message copy agency. So what I do is I help powerful, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, especially women, to unleash their message, impact, and power through the power of their story and their bodies, our energy. So it really is like multidimensional, multi-layered. And thank you for saying that. I had to resist the urge to like literally look at my bio on my website because
You got it.
just kind of
You
lean
know,
in.
you know exactly who you are, Charisse.
Exactly. I do know who I am today. I do.
Yeah. I will share all of your links in your website so people can connect with you so that they can learn more too. And so, Charisse, in
Mama.
this time, what are you doing? How are you maintaining your positive focus?
A couple different ways. So I'm a pretty tuned in type of person. So I meditate, I connect with my guides, I pull oracle cards, all that woozy foozy stuff. And so from the beginning, I was getting really clear messages around why this was happening as a collective and also for us individually, because it's showing up differently for each of us too. Like there's like the collective experience, then the individual experience. And that was really helpful for me to be able to see it in the larger context of like, okay, this is a moment in time. This is temporary. It also helped to know, we've been here before. We've been through stuff like this. And like early on, I shared this. It was like a Saturday morning. It was totally like social distancing, hadn't showered yet. And I was like, it's okay. Drinking my coffee, wearing my glasses. And I was like, I just got to share this story of, how we made it through before is through love, through connecting with each other, taking care of each other, and we'll do it again. So that really helped. And then the other piece that helped, so my journey to being this like, founder of Shameless Movement and this copy person, business and marketing strategy person, is I was a professional belly dancer for like 10 plus years. That dancing is my happy place, right? So I had already started my Facebook group and I was doing like a weekly dance break. And my intuition was like, do this every day. And don't just do it every day, like do it and share it. And that has been amazing. It's been amazing because for me, I use movement to like move through, experience and express like different levels of experience. So some of the dance breaks are like, let's just raise the energy. Pah! And some of the dance breaks are like, I feel crappy, or like, who else is feeling a little pissed off, right? Like all the natural emotions when stuff that, like when we're being impacted by circumstances over which we have no control. Oh, all the stuff comes up, right? And so people are dealing with sadness and anger and like odd periods of calm and all that good stuff. And so how do we move through all that with grace and staying connected with our unshakable center? So I've just leaned into all those practices, my regular self-care and all that yummy stuff. But the dancing, huge, and the connecting with the higher, what's the higher learning and all of this has helped me to be like, okay, this is okay. And remembering that it'll pass. Yeah.
Yes, this too shall pass. I love all that. Thank you for sharing that. And and I particularly like that you're talking about the emotions and the willingness to express it, because the more we stuff them down, the worse it is. So get those emotions out healthily, and dancing is a great way to do it.
It's so
So
good.
thank you for that. Yeah. Well, yeah, I love that. And are you needing to pivot at all in your business?
Well, I think we all are, like in different ways. So, in terms of the, you know, the digital marketing that we do and the mentorship that I do, like all that is virtual anyway. So that aspect didn't change. But what did happen was, like my clients, right? Some of my clients were going into fear. They were like, "Whoa, I need to cancel right now," and which is so part of it was just kind of pivoting in terms of um, how can I deeply serve them and like meet their deep need right now. And so part of that was amplifying my efforts on the shameless movement side. Like here are tools, here are meditations, here are dance breaks, here are all this stuff, come join the community and like soft place to land. And also, how can I up level how I'm delivering my service? So I started weaving in, so funny. It was like, oh my gosh. And this, I think I'm not the only one to have this thought, stuff that we've wanted to implement. And now we're like, it's time to implement. I'm like, interesting, right? Like all these businesses were like, I've been meaning to go virtual for years, and now I finally am, right? And so, for example, with my clients, I've just made it like, you know what? We connect every single week for like a 15-minute conversation, touch base on any projects, anything, and they get that energetic support from me, anything that's going on with them. Because so, I'm a visibility maven, right? Visibility is not for the faint of heart. And so it brings up all our stuff.
Right.
And so whether you're working on web copy or I'm mentoring you through like developing your next program or working through like a relationship thing that's impacting how you're showing up in your business, it's like the fears come up and how can I help? And so I was like, I need to increase communication, all those like loving touches that we can do. So I find like unconditional love is my number one value in my business and really in my life. And the pivot I found myself making is how can I be even more loving? Like how can I be of even deeper service? Like I was seeing people suffering, and uh, I'm such a positive person that I tend to like always see this, like always look on the bright side of life, do 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 do. And how can I reach out and be like, hey, things are tough for me too. Be vulnerable around that.
Yeah.
So the biggest pivot for me is I've actually been, and this is going to sound funny because of what I do, I've been more visible. I've been like, I got to be out there even more. Like I doubled, tripled, like 10 times what I was doing before. And I'm just, had a meeting with my team this morning of how we're going to, even
Good.
more. Cause it's really like, if you are an uplifter, if you are a light worker, if you are, and pretty much what I've been saying is like, if you're feeling pretty calm through this time, chances are you're a light worker and you've been called right now to help, not everyone identifies with that term, but meaning we can help uplift, right? Small circle, big circle, it doesn't matter. We can help like keep the energy flowing and expansive,
Yeah.
right? Versus constricted. So,
I love that.
yeah.
We were chatting just a couple of minutes before we started this, and you said something that I absolutely loved, is that you have the spiritual aspect and the strategic aspect. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit more about that. I think that's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Thank you. It's,
Mm.
yeah, like I'm very woo, but I'm pragmatic woo,
Oh,
right?
I love that.
So, for even, gosh, let me tell you more about that. So what that means is like, I'm able to take these like, whatever, high spiritual, what some would call what I would call channeled messages and be able to translate them into, okay, so what does this mean, right? Like, how can I actually put this into practice? I'm that bridge. And how this translates in the copy world, for example, is I'm an intuitive and an empath, right? So part of my strategic work that we do with the clients is literally putting myself or, and the team whom I've handpicked and trained, like putting ourselves in the shoes of that ideal client or prospect so that we're able to reflect back to the client and say, like, yes, this is great. And here's where we really need to meet them where they are. This is exactly the conversation you and I were having just a moment ago. Because often, us, the expert, we're like, here's that expert solution.
Right.
I can help you here. Here it is. But if we're going solution, nobody can hear us. But if we start to speak in the language of their problem. And so in terms of like energetically, it's that same thing. We meet them where they are energetically so that that connection can be made. Whereas if we're speaking opposite, it's like, we just, it's how do I make this message? How do I make this action the most aligned, attractive, magnetic one, right? And when we're in our most expansive, integrated place, that's when it's like you don't even have to try. You become like undeniably magnetic.
Oh, I love
Right?
that. Doesn't everybody want to do that? Especially people who have this, as you said, people who are light workers, who want to be visible, and I get it, they want to be invisible. And you help to
Yeah.
formulate the message so that they can be visible in an authentic, loving, and genuine way is what I'm hearing.
Right. And also support them through the process. So something I talk about in my book, Shameless, which is really what, where Shameless movement comes from, is this very thing. Like so you bring up a good point. Like we want to be invisible. And why is that? Right? You and I have talked about this. Whether you believe in past lives, whether it's simply collective unconscious, we have a long history of punishing powerful women who speak their truth. If
Oh,
I dare say,
yes.
and not just
I'm
women,
glad you said that. Yeah.
right? But it's like, Lisa Lister uses the term witch wound. And when I heard that, I was like, yes, right? So, I mean, I was like, it might be too triggering, but I was like, I would love to do just a spoof video of all the many ways that in past lives I have been brutally murdered because I was intuitive or a witch or a queen who couldn't had inexplicable powers.
Mm.
And it's really this, how do we cultivate our skills so that we know that we're safe, like cultivate that unshakable center in a way, like remake, I call the way I phrase it is like business is the new temple, right? So many of us as light workers have been here many times before. And in the past, there were certain structures that supported our work. Maybe there was a temple or a church or a coven or, something that would kind of like a structure. And now we're having to create that for ourselves. We're, affiliate with each other, collaborate. This is a big part of this new next wave. And so this bringing together you were mentioning of like the woo and the pragmatic is like, yes, here's how to make a compelling Facebook video, right? And here's how to overcome the terror if you're feeling that, or fear or anxiety or just like discomfort or perfectionism or all of the other ways that it shows up, right? I
Mm.
mean, I'm not I'm like I am among that number of like, do you know how many videos are on my laptop or on my phone that have never been seen by the light of day
Right, right.
because I never shared them? And that's just that fear popping up, and it comes in all kinds of different forms. And there is just to acknowledge and be real. Like the fear is real, my friends. Like, it's okay. Be compassionate with yourself. Give yourself grace because, yeah, you know, and
Do you have a special dance to get us out of that?
ooh,
That would be lovely. Because the one of the things that I'm picking up on and hearing it a lot, and as we know, as soon as we start to hear it a lot, it's really in us, not others, is safety.
yeah,
And
okay,
one of the things that people keep saying to me is, be safe. And I'm like, I am safe.
right.
Stop telling me to be safe. But safety is coming up because people are fear for their safety.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so loving this question, and I'm loving how you asked it because, so safety is a root chakra
Mm-hmm.
issue, right? And where is our root chakra? So, because I was thinking about like, how do I connect, reassure? And there's lots of little tools, but when you frame it this way of like, what is a movement where we can remind ourselves
Mm-hmm.
that we're safe? And this might seem, nah, you know what? No disclaimers.
Go for
So
it.
our, you're sitting on your root chakra right now,
Yep.
so to
Sit
speak.
on it a lot.
Right. So this is part of it. So this is part and parcel of it. It is so here's the thing, and I know you've talked about this on some of your other interviews with some of the other luminaries that you featured. So I'm like so honored to be amongst that number. Is that body, energy, spirit, mind, all the same thing, right? Like we talk about body, mind, spirit, connection. It's a misnomer insofar that they are all talking about the exact same thing. So that when we, so like if there is a energetic throat chakra thing, we can heal that by using our voice, right? So it's the same thing around the root chakra. If we know that that is safety, right? That's also like, oof. So what immediately drops in for me is a pelvic circle, is a hip circle. Okay. And I could pop up and
You know
demonstrate.
what we'll do is maybe what we'll do is I'll get you to do a little video and I'll link that to it so that
Perfect. Because I think, yeah, I'll do like a separate tutorial on
that'd
that.
be lovely. Oh my
Um,
gosh, that would be awesome.
because it's like one, it's something you can do right in your seat and also do it standing, like do it while you're doing the dishes, like doing, oh, actually there's two tools. And they both are around that root chakra. So I immediately thought of hip circle or pelvic. It's really a pelvic circle because it brings circulation. It brings some blood to that area, like, shh, it's okay, right? It's a part of our bodies that we often hold very rigidly still. We've been taught, I have another video already on YouTube, like on swaying your hips, right? Because we've been taught, don't do that. Only naughty girls do that. So like we have
Belly
that,
dancers, to be clear,
huh?
and belly dancers.
And belly dancers, right? And we have like quite the reputation. Oh my gosh. That was
I shared with you, Charisse, I did take belly dancing right after in the 90s, and I loved it. And it helped me lose all sorts of weight. It was great movement for me. It
mhm.
was awesome. It's the best core activity I could have done. I
Yeah.
love it. So,
It
yeah.
it moves your whole body. Like I remember after I'd been belly dancing for, I don't know, a year, 2 years, and then I went back into a yoga class and I went to do a plank and I rocked that plank and I was like, oh, the core strength is real. And I didn't even feel like I was building it. Like I was just having fun and moving the whole time and like building core strength without like sweaty crunches. I was like, yes, I like this. So anyway,
So I
yeah.
love this. So the pelvic move, I love that. What was the other one you were going to share with us?
So the other piece was the shimmy, right? So it's also a pelvic move, like we're rocking the hips, and but it's like slightly different energy, right? So the circle is very much about kind of reclaiming our power in that area, breathing some life into that area, creating space, because what fear does is it constricts,
Mhm.
right? It's like, whew. So what we want to do energetically, physically is like, okay, how can we create um, more spaciousness here? And so that could be I mean, it could be as simple as like wearing a skirt instead of pants, like letting your bits air out a little bit, like stuff like that. Like there are ways to just bring in that spaciousness, and the move does that. With the shimmy, and the reason why I bring that up is so humans are unique amongst animals. You have cats, like I do, who are really great at reminding us not to take ourselves too seriously.
Yes.
And if you watch how they deal with a stressful situation, it's so clear, right? Something happens, you know, they go tumbling off a dresser and they're like, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Like, really. And they're, which is hilarious. But as they're moving, like, you'll see like the skin on their back just kind of like twitch, 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 and they just shake it off and move on. Humans are the only ones who are like, no, I must keep this stressor
Right.
or trauma or whatever, large or small, and store it and hold on to it forever.
Right.
And I say it this way, and I know I'm saying it facetiously and also like, hey now, like when we were little and stuff was going down, and that was just we dealt with it the way we're seeing everyone else deal with it. So it's like this is not a like blame game, shame game, nothing like that. This is how every human on the planet, you know, we're like, oh yeah, oh. So animals naturally shake off stress. Shimmy is simply shaking the body, right? In this case, shaking the hips. So I'll give you a tutorial that's
Okay. And I'll link them to this.
and link up to those because that'll take a little bit more time. But the bottom line is that tool of being able to shake off anxiety, stress, just in that moment of like, like immediate relief, right? Is so powerful because it just reminds you like, I have a choice here around whether I allow this emotion, you know, like to take over. Like, thank you, emotion. You're bringing me some really important information right now. So I acknowledge you and I love you. And how can I help?
Right.
What can I do here? Yep. I'm like, okay, all right, we need to move some of this through. And so that's a powerful way to do that.
I love that because one of the biggest things is that too many of us just stuff those down, those emotions, and we wear them in our size. My size went up to almost 300 pounds because I was stuffing down all of my negative emotions. And as soon as I started to healthfully release the negative emotions and limiting beliefs, things started to get better. And even now when triggers come up, and they do.
Of course, they always will.
Right. And may it always be so. It fires easily and then it's done. So I got mad at my husband last week. It fired and then it was done. So, and I love the idea of adding the movement on top of that too. That's another piece that I want to do. I've done the mental and the spiritual and the emotional work. And now I think it's really important for me to do
the body physical work. Yeah. That hence shameless movement, right? Because it's like really embracing all parts of the body and recognizing that I feel like it's the final frontier for us. You know what I mean? Like so many people are like, oh yeah, like the spiritual, the energetic, the mind stuff, but man, from the neck down, or we'll do heart center stuff, but anything below the waist, like, no,
right?
There are creases down there, there's sweat. I don't even want to think about it. And yet, so much powerful wisdom, intelligence, healing. Oof. Well, I mean, I know that you, in the work that you do, through NLP, through hypnotism, through all of this stuff, it's like it's just how those memories become, you know, sometimes it's like a memory will just store a thing and there'll be like a tag or a story attached to it. And it's like, we just move through life, not even knowing that thing is governing our behavior. Well, the same thing with the body. We'll store stuff in our muscles. And guess what? Stuff comes down through our DNA. This is documented. Like, we have ancestral stuff. So just in case you didn't think it was enough with just your own individual trauma, right? It's like we've got
gotta deal with everybody else's
patients. No biggie. You know, we got collective. We got the whole thing. But you know why? Because we can handle it. We wouldn't have it if we couldn't handle it. And what's really, really cool is when we do the work here and now, through the modality that speaks to us, we heal forward, we heal backwards. I mean, it is powerful. It is powerful, powerful stuff. So
And
I
I
know
think that's the best note to leave it on. Thank you so much for being here. It was a joy to connect with you, and I will post all your links so that people can connect with you. Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me today,
My
Susan.
pleasure.